Hello, everybody. My name is Dalton Rollinger, and welcome to Sailwind. As you can tell by the title of the video, this is going to be a beginner's guide for anybody who may be new to the game. Maybe you came across it by chance on YouTube, or maybe you came across it on just the regular Steam page, and you thought it looked interesting. You want to take a closer look at it. I'm stuttering like crazy right now. So this video is specifically targeted towards you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start a new game. Make sure I start a new game. So you've got three different starting regions that the game, I think, wrongly classifies as easy, medium, and hard. The regular starting point is going to be Al Anka. It is described as a hot and dry region with mostly clear weather, stable winds, and easy sailing conditions. Um, this is not the worst start, but I think, ironically, the hard start is actually going to be the easiest bet that you've got. I know I'm kind of going out on a limb here and saying that this is probably the easier starting location, but the difference is Al Anka versus Aestrin. Al Anka has very tiny islands that are hard to spot in the distance, right? Aestrin does not have this issue, which is kind of the big reason why I would suggest new players come to this particular region. Aestrin is a temperate region with moderate rainfall and infrequent storms. Sailing here can be challenging due to unpredictable winds, though storms are uncommon. Yeah, the winds are interesting in this region, but this boat here is probably the best starting boat in the game. The Emerald Archipelago, which is the medium difficulty starting area, I would probably classify this as really more of the hard start difficulty area because this boat right here is not very big at all. And storms here are very frequent, so yeah, we're going to go for Aestrin, right? So whenever you come into the game, you get this early access notice, like, hey, the game's early access, it's unfinished, you're gonna get bugs, yada yada yada. There is a uh, Discord that you can join if you want to. You can also contact the developer if you want. All that information will be right there waiting for you. So the first thing you're gonna notice is you've got a boat right here, and you've got a market, right? So what I would actually recommend that you do is you grab your map, you press tab button, you put it there. There's also the scroll here that'll kind of give you some very bare basics about the game. I would recommend that you kind of read through this in the very beginning, because this game does not only have like sailing physics and stuff, it also has a life simulator as well. Like the green energy is going to be your rest, the blue bar is going to be your thirst, and then obviously the yellow bar is going to be your hunger. You definitely want to keep an eye on those. So what I would recommend you do is you do the insane thing and you sell your map, because you get an extra 125 gold for that, which is nothing to snip at, especially whenever you're first starting out. Because there is a reputation system in this game. Right, so the next thing that I would recommend that you do is you stock up on food. If you press the tab button and then you click on these circles while holding an object, you can collect as much food as you want. The other starting areas, not Fort Aestrin, the Emerald Archipelago and Gold Rock City, the easy starting difficulty area, your ship will start with food. With this thing, however, you only really start with just one cheese wedge, which is not going to get you very far. You do, however, start off with a free barrel of water, which gives you 60 drinks of water. So the next thing that I would recommend, how much money do we have now? We have 215. There might be something worth buying over here. There's a fishing rod. I would definitely buy that, because that's definitely going to be useful. Did it come with fishing hooks, by the way? Because those would also be very useful. Firewood. Okay, yes, there's also fishing hooks. Definitely buy those as well. You can buy objects by pressing the R button on them, or right-clicking, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on the boat. You can put all your stuff on the boat. No worry, things don't despawn unless you leave them like really far behind, or if you like drop them in the water or whatever. What are you selling, by the way? You've got North Fish and water. Yeah, barrels of water in this game are very expensive, by the way. Things get cheaper as you complete more jobs, which increases your reputation, but your reputation will kind of crawl to a halt once you get to a certain level. But things will get cheaper, not by much, but they do get at least a little bit cheaper. So we have 6 slices of cheese, if we count this one. We have a lantern. We have a compass, which is going to be very important. Do not lose the compass at all whatsoever. We have a fishing pole and some fishing hooks. So that's going to be good enough for your first few purchases, I would think. The next thing you want to do is you want to look for this particular sign here. The blue flag with the anchor on it, that's going to be the merchant trader store thing where you buy or you get jobs and you sell the goods that you transport. So come in here. You've got 2 options here. You've got the trade, which you don't have enough reputation for at the beginning, which I would not really bother with, because in my experience at least, it hasn't really been worth even looking at. So what you want to do is you want to get some missions here. And this is the reason I wanted you to go ahead and sell the map, because whenever you take a mission, you've automatically got a map with you. That might change in the future, but as of the recording of this video, you will always have a map with you, so long as you have a job. And this is the next reason why I wanted you to start off in the Aestrin region, is because these islands are massive. With the exception of the Oracle Island and Eastwind, you can see every single island right off the bat. You've got Siren Song, Fort Aestrin, which is the capital region of the city. Then you've got Sunspire. Then you've got Mount Malefic, which is a volcanic island. So for this particular journey, and you also have to keep in mind that there is weight in the game. Your ship can only hold so much in terms of cargo space as well as weight, because if you put too much weight on the ship, it will sink. And your own character also has weight themselves. So for this particular journey, I think I'm just going to start off nice and easy. We're going to take... We'll take some goods to Fort Aestrin, and then we'll also take some North Fish. Now, unfortunately, I don't know how much weight this boat in particular can carry, like, at maximum, but you definitely want to be kind of careful. As you can see, it is a pretty decent-sized boat, but it is still... it still can't hold the most. The boat in the easy starting region is probably going to be what carries the most, but this is not a bad boat either. So there's going to be kind of an exploit in the game that you can kind of take advantage of. I wouldn't call it an exploit, but you'll see what I mean. So if you go on board the boat and you grab this rope, right? Let me show you where it is, just in case you weren't paying attention. It's right here, and there's also another one back over here. And every boat is going to be the exact same like that. There's going to be 2 ropes on each side. So what you want to do, just to make loading a little bit easier on yourself, grab the rope and bring it here, and the boat will kind of bring itself in. Now, you don't want to do this If you're like really far away from port, as far as I can tell, these ropes are pretty much infinite. You can be like halfway out to the middle of nowhere and still kind of swim back to shore, and these ropes will pretty much stretch the entire way. But if you do that, your ship will just launch itself up towards the sun, and you'll lose pretty much all your progress. So let's go ahead and start loading the boat. Now, this is just kind of a personal thing. I kind of like to keep things stashed and organized together. So I'm going to put all the North fish together, and then I'm going to put all the goods relatively together as well. Now, this is going to be kind of a lighter load, so I don't have to worry so much about capsizing on this. But there are storms in the game, and if you're not loaded correctly, or if a strong gust of wind comes along and just knocks you off balance, be aware you could be in for a very, very rough time. It's not like Sea of Thieves where your ship can sail against the wind either. The wind plays a big part in this, and let me show you real quick. If you click Tab, go down to Log, click on a job, and you'll see that you always have a map here, right? And if you get lost and you don't know which port you're at, you just come to this guy, and down here it'll tell you welcome to Siren Song, or welcome to whichever port that you're at. And I also want to point out that this right here is not the entire game. Those other two starting regions are also in the game, but they're a long, long, long way away. There is a massive ocean out there that you can travel if you so desire. And the jobs that pay you for crossing the oceans are pretty good. So anyway, I think that's going to be all we really need for this. I might have to back out of here, though. If I'm lucky, I might be able to use this sail. So the way you lower and raise the sails is this front one here controls the front sail, okay? Now, every type of sail kind of has its own unique name and its own unique purpose. This right here is a square sail, and I think this is a jib. I don't recall right off the top of my head, but keep in mind that there is also ship customization. I'll show you that later on in the video as well. So I'm going to lower down this, see if I can kind of catch that crosswind there. And what you can also do is you can tighten the sail itself by using these things on the side here. These I can't think of what the heck these things are called right now. These little knob things. Alright, so I think that might be good enough. I'll give it one more rotation. There we go. And I'm also going to go ahead and steer us in the proper direction. And just to make life a little bit easier, I'm also going to go ahead and just kind of drag the ship out. Just give it enough of a tug where we can kind of get some momentum going on. And here we go. We are off on our first journey. You can already see the island that we're heading for. It's way out there in the distance. That's going to be Fort Aestrin. And this sail right here is another big reason why I think this particular boat is going to be the best starting boat that you've got. Some people get intimidated by this, and excuse me, I do have a stutter for anybody who's new to the channel. You'll have to forgive me for that. It's something I've had my entire life, something that's I'm probably going to have my entire life until the day I die. So, yeah, as you can see, you don't make too much progress, right? You've got to keep in mind this is a... Would it be technically medieval? I don't know if this would be medieval or like... I don't know. This boat to me kind of screams like more... maybe like British Empire sort of days, like, you know, the golden age of sail kind of days, like early British Empire, maybe mid British Empire. I don't know. I've never been much of a boat expert, but you'll have to forgive me. I'm kind of concentrating on what's going on right now. There's a particular type of sail that I would recommend you get as early as possible, which is called a gaff sail. You can put it right here on the rear of your main mast here, and it will really help with crosswinds. This sail right here will help you out quite a bit as well. You'll at least be able to keep moving forward whenever the winds are blowing kind of at an undesirable angle, but as you can see, we are still moving, which means it is uh, working moderately into our favor, at least a little bit. So, off we go, and this is pretty much going to be the vast majority of your travels, by the way. I need to stop saying I say way too much. I keep telling myself I'm going to stop saying but it's too much of a habit at this point, I'm afraid. Anyway, there's not really a way to skip time. You can sleep, which we'll have to do here before too long. And as you can see, we've already spent through quite a lot of our food. Excuse me, I can't English today, apparently. We've already spent through quite a lot of our money. But since we've got a fishing pole, what we can do is just come towards the rear, hold down the right mouse button, and just cast out. The fishing is kind of hit and miss. Sometimes you'll get lucky and there will be a fish bite right off the bat. Other times you'll be sitting there waiting for literal minutes. I'm hoping I can get lucky with this and I can show you how to reel a fish in on video, but it's just kind of luck of the draw, really. Yeah, got some nasty light. Here we go. Got some nasty light flickers happening there for a minute. So I've got a catch. You can tell that you've got a catch whenever the pole bends like that. And what you want to do is you want to slowly, and I mean slowly, just drag your finger back on the middle mouse button, on the mouse scroll. If you pull too much, you'll lose the fish. You'll see the pole kind of start to vibrate like that. And yeah, just take your time. You're not in a hurry. Got a trout, it looks like, or something along those lines. So yeah, just once it gets out of the water, you should be fine. And then once you get all the way rolled in, you can just press the R button, and the fish will be collected. It'll just drop right there on the deck. So you just go ahead and eat that raw. Eat sushi, basically. You can just get out of my face, thank you. Now, sometimes you'll get extremely unlucky, and the fish will use up the hook. Okay, whenever that happens, what you want to do is you just want to come over to this box, press the R button, you'll pull out a fish hook, then press F on your pole, and it will attach. So yeah, that's something that you probably want to practice a little bit right off the bat is just fishing as much as you can, because until you get a moderately sized reputation in the game, everything is going to be extremely expensive. And whenever we get to Fort Aestrin, I'll show you some other tips and tricks that I've kind of learned in my own time. And one thing you can do to kind of make your job just a little bit easier whenever you finally get a bite is you can reel in the fish hook. That way you don't have so much of a struggle whenever you finally get a catch. Looks like I'm not really getting too lucky with this one. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and reel this in. I don't need a fish desperately at the moment. So, whenever we get to Fort Aestrin, I'll show you some things. Now, if at all possible, you want to go ahead and arrive during the daytime, because nothing is going to be open at night. Whenever night comes along, all the shops close down. The only thing that's open is going to be the trader, so you can sell all your stuff. And has the wind changed direction at all yet? Not really. I still can't use the mainsail yet. But yeah, this is the big reason I wanted you to start here. Like, if you were to start in Al Anka, which is the easy starting region, you wouldn't see hardly any island with the exception of Gold Rock City, which is the biggest island, as far as I know, that's probably in the game. Mount Malefic out there in the far distance might be bigger in terms of just sheer height, but in terms of just sheer landmass, Gold Rock City is definitely the biggest that I can recall. Anyway, the Dragon Cliffs might be bigger, but I haven't really sailed around the Emerald Archipelago that much. A lot of it is really just due to I don't care about the aesthetics so much. The Emerald Archipelago, you'll notice that every archipelago has its own theme region to it, like its own culture theme. Aestrin is more like European. Like I can kind of see like a Italian village, or Middle European kind of people living in this region. Gold Rock City or the Al Anka region is going to be like a more Middle Eastern / African thing, and the Emerald Archipelagos are going to be more like Asian culture, like kind of like more of a Vietnamese theme going on. And personally, it just comes down to personal taste and all that, but I've just never really cared so much about the Asian theme, like in terms of structures and just architecture, I guess. It's just never really been my thing. But anyway, just to cut down on time, I will skip forward and I'll see you guys at Fort Aestrin whenever we finally get there. Oh, maybe I won't see you guys at Fort Aestrin. I can kind of hear the wind picking up, and the wind has changed in our favor, at least a little bit. So this means I can kind of lower down the main sail, which will allow us to pick up speed a little bit. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to go ahead and loosen this knob a little bit. That way the sail can kind of catch the wind a little bit better. And I'm also going to go ahead and loosen the front sail, the jib, just slightly. That way we're catching as much wind as we can. So yeah, you can kind of see that we've sped up just slightly. You got to keep in mind, these are sailboats. You're sailing at the mercy of the wind. You're not going to get anywhere extremely fast. But one thing that really draws a lot of people in, like if you're coming from, let's say, American Truck Simulator or ETS2, those games, they kind of hold your hand a little bit. And even like games, let's say like, the Elder Scrolls or Fallout, they always show exactly where you are on the map. And this is one thing that I really like about this game, is it doesn't hold your hand. So you'll notice that we set off from Siren Song, and we're kind of somewhere in between Siren Song and Fort Aestrin, but it doesn't show us exactly where we are. And this will play a major factor in later voyages for you. Is sooner or later you'll need to navigate by the stars, kind of similar to what they did like in real life back in the day. You'll need to use the North Star with a quadrant. If I can find the North Star, it'd help if I had a compass, that way I can tell which way is actually north. So north. I think it's that star right there. Maybe that one. It's one of those two. So yeah, what you'll need to do is you'll need to use a quadrant, aim it at that star, and then right click, and that'll measure your latitude, which helps out quite a bit. There are other tools that you can get, but everything in this game costs a lot of money. So we're getting tired right now, which gives us time to, or gives me a time to show off sleeping. There's no time skip in this game, like I said, but there's a way you can kind of skip forward time just a little bit, but you got to be careful because once you get into the screen, you can't just automatically cancel out of it. Your character will only awake whenever he feels like awaking. So it's very easy to overshoot islands or even just crash into them, which is not the worst thing in the world. As far as I can tell, as of the recording of this video, your ship doesn't take actual damage, which is kind of a big thing to keep in mind. So here we go. We finally woke up, and we can finally see the lights of the port. So let's go ahead and start turning towards the port here, and I'm probably going to need to raise up the main sail again. Actually, maybe not. We might be good. I'll just go ahead and rotate it a little bit more. And also use this to kind of tighten it and secure it in place. So, yeah, as you can kind of see, the ship is starting to list a little bit, which is fine because we're not heavy at the moment. But if we were in like really rough seas or something, it wouldn't be the best thing in the world because your ship will capsize if a big enough wave hits it. Let me also go ahead and kind of bring this in a little bit. It annoys me how things just kind of clip through each other, but, you know, it's early access. It's not the biggest thing in the world. At least everything works, and the game doesn't look that bad to me. Like, look at this night sky, by the way. Just, I do love me a good night sky, and this night sky is absolutely gorgeous. And you've even got, like, the rising moon and whatnot. There's kind of a cool trick you can use to your advantage. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but you see how far that island is out there in the distance? Right, it looks like it's pretty far away, but there's a kind of a trick you can use. If you just look to the side a little bit, either side, the island just kind of gets bigger, and that's a good way of kind of scanning the horizon a little bit. Like, if there's an island out there somewhere that you can't see just looking straight ahead, you might be able to just see the top of it just kind of jutting up over the horizon or over the surface of the water. Just barely. This little feature has saved my hide many a time. So, and you can see over there, there's a bigger ship tied up at dock, and I'll show you that in a little bit. There are bigger ships that you can buy, but they are extremely expensive. That in particular is called the Brig. It is the biggest ship in the game, but it is by no means the fastest or the best. It has the biggest cargo hold for sure, but it's also the hardest to man because it's kind of like the big grown-up version of this boat, but just take like everything on this boat and multiply it by like 5. Right, so I'm heading for that building over there, kind of like straight ahead of us with the mast. And it looks like we'll probably loosen this just a little bit. Yeah, that should be relatively fine. Everything doesn't have to be perfect, by the way. There are a lot of people that kind of show you exactly how the sail should be, but in my opinion, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just so long as you're moving forward, that's good enough for me. And, you know, I've never been on a sailboat at all whatsoever. The only boat I've ever been on, technically, is my dad's, what kind of boat is it? It's called the Manta Ray, but I don't know what type of ship it is exactly. Anyway, we're coming in kind of fast. So let's go ahead and raise up the sails. At least the main sail, anyway. And just to make our lives a little bit easier, you can technically dock anywhere along this region here. I believe this is probably the biggest port in the game. Gold Rock City might be a little bit bigger, but not by much. Closing in a little bit, so let's go ahead and raise this up. There's also a fair bit of momentum that your ship will gain for quite some time. But obviously, as you start raising up the sails, the ship will slow down quite drastically, though your momentum can carry you a lot further than you might expect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stand out here on the Bane of Ursula here, and I'm just going to run ahead and moor up the ship right here. I'm going to jump up back onto the ship, and let me light up the lantern so I can kind of show you guys what's going on. And uh-oh. Okay, I thought I was screwed there for a minute. I apparently like phased through the upper part of this deck. So yeah, let's go ahead and eat something. Bare minimum, that'll kind of clear up a slot for me to put in the lantern. And we can finally drink something as well. Now, I would be extremely careful about how much of your free water that you drink, because as I showed you earlier in the video, water barrels are extremely expensive, but I'll show you a way to get around that. So yeah, since it's nighttime, the only thing that's going to be open is the trader here. Maybe the ship customization, which I'm also going to show you here in a little bit. They might be open as well, but I don't think so. Now, this is just something that I personally like to do, is I just like to unload everything like in groups. You don't have to do this. You can just go ahead and just, you know, take everything straight into the building right away if you so desire. But this is just something that I just do for amusement, so it just makes it easier to know if I get everything off the boat or not. So yeah, let's go ahead and sell all of this. Let's also check our gold. We've got, I swear we had 49 a minute ago, but whatever. Does it go up? Oh, it goes up per delivery. Okay. I didn't know that. I learned something new in this video myself. So yeah, let's go ahead and deliver these. And excuse me for a moment, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry about that. So yeah, that brought us up to 96 gold, which is not bad. Go ahead and turn that off so I'm not wasting it. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to be playing this file after this video anyway, so might as well just let it burn out. There is a new feature in this game, by the way. I forget what update it came along with, but if you're moored in port, right? Your ship is tied up, you're safe, you're nice and safe and sound in port. What you can do is you can actually sleep through the night. And you'll sleep really fast. Okay. So, everything should be open now, which means I can show you a good way of building up water supplies instead of buying these really expensive water barrels and stuff. So let's come over here. This is going to be where you buy... What? Is my game bugged? I swear these are not nearly this cheap in my game. That is weird. Okay, that's still fairly expensive, but that's not nearly as expensive as my game. In my game, these cost like 88 gold, even with like a sizable reputation. That is weird. Anyway, assuming that you don't run into this, all right, what I would recommend that you do is you come up here and you buy these bottles. Um, as you can see, they're much, much cheaper. So, yeah, I would just collect like a whole bunch of these things and just use those as your water supply. Speaking of which, you get 5 uses per bottle, and you can also use these as cups if you so desire. If you're not a big fan of the smaller cup in the boat, you can just use these bottles if you wish. So the markets all have different things that they will sell you. Every island that has a town on it has a market of some sort. Not every market will sell you like the most useful stuff. Like here, there's quadrants, which is what you... I didn't want to buy that, but whatever. Which is what you'll use to navigate by the stars. Like you point this at the North Star, for example, then it shows you your latitude. But that's going to be an incorrect reading because I can't see where the North Star is. So, yeah. I'm just going to leave that as it is. And for the time being, I would just go ahead and continue buying like cheese and stuff. This cheese is probably the best stuff you can buy for short-term gain because this will fill up like just slightly less than your hunger bar if you are like almost starving to death. So yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of different vendors. Some sell meat, some sell fish, some sell beer, some sell like smoking tobacco, wine, so on and so forth. But let me go ahead and show you this since we're here, and I know some of you are going to be interested. So yeah, there are bigger boats that you can buy in the game. This will cost 110 gold. Alright, do not confuse that with your regular currencies, right? Like you've got the Al Anka Lions, you've got the Emerald Dragons, and you've got the Aestrin Crowns. Each of these have different value, but you're going to use gold lions in order to buy your boats. And depending on which region that you go to, I think it costs 100, give or take, Aestrin crowns just to make one of these coins. So it's going to take a lot of money to purchase like any kind of gold coins. And I'll show you where you can actually transfer your money or your currency. So yeah, this is, as I said, this is the brig. It's the biggest boat in the game. Some like it, some hate it. It's definitely an interesting boat, but it's got the biggest cargo hold by quite some measure. I would actually argue that the Sandbuck might actually have a bigger cargo hold than this, because this has like a whole bunch of doorways and walls in the way. The Sandbuck doesn't have that in the lower belly of the boat. Anyway, that's the brig. That's one of the bigger boats that you can buy. Let's go ahead and move over here. These are the maps of the regions, by the way. This is the Al Anka region. This is going to be this easy starting region. As you can see, the islands are much, much smaller. Up at the very north, top of the map, towards the west, you'll see the Al Anka Academy. That island has a reputation for being very difficult to get to because it is extremely small. It's very easy to sail right by and you wouldn't even know it. This is the Emerald Archipelagos, which is the medium difficulty starting area. I haven't spent a lot of time here myself, so I don't really know that much about it. Like I said, it's just kind of a... I'm not a big fan of the theme that it's got going on. This is the world map right here. We're up at Fort Aestrin in the Aestrin region at the very, very north. Then you've got the Dragon Cliffs and Gold Rock City, pretty much on the same longitude line. Then you've got a few isolated islands kind of dotted about. You've got Oasis just north of Gold Rock City. Then you've got Happy Bay kind of between the Emerald Archipelago and Aestrin. And then this is where we are, Aestrin itself. So, yeah, just kind of explore around to your heart's content if you are interested in seeing what all this game has to offer. Every vendor is going to be different. Every island is going to be different. You can buy tables and stuff for your boat to put things on if you wish. There's also stoves that you can buy for cooking your fish. Some vendors, that's pretty much all they sell is just fishing hooks and fishing supplies. There's no like the what do you call them? Fishing ornament things, like things you put on the fish hook to lure different types of fish in. There's none of that stuff in the game. It might be added in later on, who knows, but as of the recording of this video, it doesn't exist. So, the last thing I'm going to show you, by the way, is going to be the ship customization. Go ahead and do that, and then I'll jump on board again, and then I'll just wait for this thing to kind of drift further on out. Come on. Alright, there we go. That should be relatively good enough. Or not. I might be able to. Also, if you can kind of push the ship along if you get up next to it and press F, like repeatedly, a lot, to the point your finger kind of gets tired. But, you know you want to come over here, Mrs. Ship. Yes, yes, there you go. There you go. Come here. One thing I should probably point out, by the way, if you fall off the boat, all you really got to do is just sprint and kind of jump along. You will always be faster than your boat, though not by much. So if your boat, like, throws you off, like, let's say, like, a big old wave comes along and you just kind of end up riding the wave by accident and it takes you off the boat, just kind of sprint along and jump in the water, and eventually you will catch up. So yeah, this is the ship customization. What you want to do is you want to look for these yellow flags with the anvil and the hammers. Come up to this table, enter shipyard. Now, there's a lot of different things that you can do. The first thing that I would recommend that you actually do is you get rid of that super fortress there, because that's going to be extremely top heavy, and it's very easy to make your ship knock over. The next thing that I personally would recommend is you put on a gaff sail. So, but as you can see, it's also going to be extremely expensive. Down here is going to be the total right there. That alone would be 300 gold, or 300 Aestrin crowns. It might require some playing around just a little bit. But gaff sails, I would recommend that you keep them as low as possible. But yeah, I think that's going to be pretty much the video right there. Also, you can do like a clean hull thing for like just a handful of gold. As you can see, the ship was clean just a little bit. Your ship does get dirty every so often, just casually over time. Let me show you. There's a way that you can actually clean the deck yourself. It takes some time, but let's see if I can find one here. Fishing poles, bread, fish, more fish. It's the water supplies. Okay, not that I can see. Is that supposed to be a feather? That is indeed supposed to be a feather. Well, that's very interesting. Yeah, like I said before, I can kind of see this being like an Italian village of some kind. there's also spyglasses, but as you can see, like, a lot of this stuff is outrageously expensive. Like the chrono compass, for example, $8,100. Just, my God. That's what spyglasses do, by the way, in case you're curious. Is there, like, any kind of difference there? Okay. I think there is a difference, but it's just not that big of a difference. But yeah, what you can do to kind of clean the ship yourself, it kind of gives you something else to do while you're sailing from port to port, is you can buy a broom and just kind of sweep along the deck yourself, trying to tidy up the ship at least a little bit if it's something you want to do. I don't think it offers like any kind of like speed buff or anything, like if you keep the deck nice and clean or whatever. I think it's just to give you something to do while you're sailing out at sea or whatever. So yeah, I think that's pretty much going to be the starting video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you found it useful. Sailwind is definitely going to be a game that you just kind of have to get used to. It's going to be filled with a lot of trial and error. You might be frustrated with it at some points, but if you just give it enough time, give it enough, patience, and learn the game as much as you can, I think you'll learn to enjoy sailing and stuff. And, I didn't know anything about sailing before I started playing this game, but I found it so interesting that I actually started looking up a lot of different things about sailing. Admittedly, I'm kind of coming back into this game after taking a pretty long break away from it, but I still find it very interesting, but I'll probably need to go through and re-educate myself on a lot of that stuff. Anyway, if you did like the video, please let me know. I'd like to know that I'd at least like to know that this video helped out at least one person. So yeah, I've also got an entire playthrough going on of this game if you want to see more of it, but you're not entirely sure if you want to buy it yet, so feel free to check that out. But as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. I just realized I forgot to show off the currency trading thing, so let's go ahead and over here. What you want to do is you want to go into the trader, come up to this currency exchange box, and then you can kind of play around with it. I haven't really mastered this entirely yet, but up here is what you currently have. So let's say you want to convert it into, let's say, emerald dragons, right? So 10 would get you like 37 emerald dragons. Yeah, so I've got a currency of 177 emerald dragons there. So I don't know if that's good or bad because I haven't really been in that region yet, and I haven't really played around with Al Anka quite yet either. So, ooh. That's even worse. And then just out of curiosity, let's... Yeah, as you can see there, it costs like 90... Actually, wait. Basically just under 90 emerald crowns to, or Aestrin crowns, excuse me, to make just one single gold coin. So let's kind of play around with, let's say, emerald dragons. So let's... Wow. Heaven help you if you're playing on that region. Oops, did not mean to do that. So 320 even emerald dragons will get you one single gold coin. Just good grief. What about these? Okay, but 38... So 38 of these would get you one of these. So hang on a second. Let's do that. So let's say I want... Yeah. Let's say I want to buy the brig, which costs 110 gold coins. That's going to require 4,140 Al-Inca lions. An insane amount of emerald dragons. Might as well just shoot for 10,000 if you're going for that. Like, good lord. So, yeah, as you can see, getting money is going to be an interesting thing in this game. I haven't really played around with it that much myself, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.